Hello, and in this video we're going to have a look at the RAWR, which is the new battle pickup in the Dragon's Teeth maps. Now, in real life this is the Modular Advanced Arms Robotic System, or MARS, made by Kinetic, but in game it's called the RAWR, R-A-W-R, Remote Assisted Weaponized Robot. So originally a lot of people thought this was going to be a gadget, but when you see it in operation you will realise that this could never be a gadget. It's a battle pickup and it's available on all the Dragon's Teeth maps. It's not available in Chainlink, but in Conquest there appears to be one positioned favourably for each team. Essentially this thing is an armed EOD bot. It's got an M240 LMG with 600 rounds, and it's got 4 M203 3GL grenade launchers. And this thing chews up infantry like nobody's business. So this is the first time I've used it, and as you can see, laying devastation. But the thing you realise is the RAWR is still pretty vulnerable. It's not tougher than the EOD bot. So you have to be a bit careful with it rather than steam it in. The M240 seems to be pretty well stabilised, and it just shoots where you point it. It's very accurate, and like I say, against infantry this thing is just lethal. You often don't spot it, especially if it's sitting still, and because it's low down it's not in your usual eye line. So it takes a while to get used to looking out for this thing. The grenade launcher is a bit tricky to use. It's got an awful lot of drop on it and there's no gradiated scale for it. So it is a bit hit and miss, but you can get kills with it. It's just not as effective as the machine gun, to be fair. And this little guy will go through most terrain, so walls and fences aren't a problem. Does struggle a bit over bumpier terrain, but it will go upstairs and hills quite easily. The one thing it won't do is take on a tank. The grenade launcher does 2 damage to a tank. So an EOD bot is actually better at facing vehicles than this thing is. But this thing is great fun. It is effective. Basically what I tend to do is pick it up, run away and hide. So you are going to be standing or lying around while you're using this thing. So running away, hiding somewhere and sending off this little guy to do all the killing for you works wonders. And give you a rough idea where most of the RAWRs are on the maps. So on Sunken Dragon there's one by sea on Conquest Large, so that's at the north end of the bridge. There's a porter cabin and there's one hiding behind that. On Propaganda there's one at A and one at G, so the one at A is at the base of the statue, the one at G is inside the first building that you can run through. On Lamphini Gardens there's one at the north end of the map next to the building that's on the river. Can't give much more of a description than that. And on Pearl Market there's one pretty much near either spawn, but it's not actually on an objective. You'll just have to come across them. They're really hard to point out where they are. So there are a couple of points on each map that have one biased towards either side. And as you can see, this thing just cruises around and kills people. If you can avoid getting into firefights, you know, you can take a few rounds, but you don't want to get sustained fire on it. It doesn't seem to have a damage indicator, so it's a bit hard to know just how damaged you are. Although when you're getting sort of critically damaged, it does come up and say fire. You can't reload it and you can't repair it. As far as I can tell, I've tried repairing one with an EOD bot, that didn't work. And it won't reload from ammo bags. Now it might reload from a supply drop because certain vehicles do, but have to wait and see. But as you can see, this thing just cruises around quite happily and will mow down infantry with this gun. I really don't bother with a grenade launcher at all. It's just a bit of a waste of time compared to the M240, which will quite happily kill infantry all day long, really. You know, I've been going quite a while, got a lot of kills, and I've still got 440 rounds left in this thing. Maybe they put too much ammo in it. And it would be nice if the reticle didn't go that big when you zoomed in. But as you can see, you can hit things at range with this. It does bounce around, but you can burst fire it quite easily. So any drawbacks to the RAWR? Well, not really. It's a battlefield pickup. You know, it's not something you have to use, it's something you can use. It suffers from some of the EOD bot's physics glitches. It can get stuck on some tiny little curbs. It bounces around and wobbles. Doesn't like going on an angle that much. But it's a great fun little toy to play with on Battlefield, and as you can see, it can do some work. So I'll give the RAWR 8 out of 10. Yeah, it's going to lose 2 because occasionally it does this really bright vision thing for no apparent reason, and because the physics is a little dodgy on it at times. But on the whole, it drives around really well. It's got a really good gun. Grenade launcher's a bit fiddly, but it's a very effective little toy. And you're going to have to use it if you want to get the remote operator assignment. For that you need to get 5 kills with the RAWR, and to be honest, that's a doddle. You can get kills with this thing all day long. Once you're spotted, you've got to run away. But until you get spotted, these things are a little death machine. They're probably more effective than the gun on a Jeep. But they are quite vulnerable, and sometimes you just can't run away fast enough. So that's the RAWR. It's a lot of fun, it does a lot of damage, but it's easy to take down with your primary weapon. You just gotta hope it doesn't see you first. Thanks for watching.